put in more work halftime than you did when you first started, because conditions change. Like the military. Mission, enemy, time, and terrain. Everything changes sometimes, so you got to roll with it.
Yep, absolutely right. So for a new budding entrepreneur, if you're going to give them some advice, what would you tell them to watch out for?
I would definitely say, definitely being underfinanced, and also not having a plan and not knowing your margins. Yep. A lot of people, like, say if you sell a $7 hat, but it costs you $6.50 to make, and you sell it at $7, but you forget you got to pay tax on it. You're just giving hats away for free.
That's true.
Something simple like that, because I see a lot of people, they'll go to a trade show and just give their stuff away, and they get home and they're like, oh shit, I got to pay taxes on everything I just sold. And they didn't figure out their margins correctly.
Yep. Yeah, I certainly agree with you on that one. So what support or resource would you say a new entrepreneur should look for the first, especially since we're veteran entrepreneurs? We'll kind of focus that direction. What should a vetpreneur be looking for?
Well, what I did is when I first joined the Vetpreneur, I just sat back and watched. And I was, I picked maybe like 5 or 6 different people I thought that I would want to connect with, and just watch what they did. I guess I was lurking, and then I started, messaging them, some of them back and forth and talking. And then I got to know who some people really were, or who some people said that they were.
Yep.
So I would say it was just, pick your mentors. Because like when I joined the military, I went back in the second time. I was hanging out with other, PFCs, and one of my staff sergeants says, dude, why are you hanging out with PFCs? He says, you can't learn anything for something that's somebody that's on your same level. So after that, I started hanging out with E5s, E6s, and E7s. And I did that for the rest of my career. So I think, you want to figure 1 or 2 different people that you can follow and actually have them mentor you if they will. Yep. I think mentors are very important.
I absolutely agree with you. So with your business, how would you say that your values show up within your work, and should people incorporate their values into their own business?
Well, I mean, my values is, I'm always going to take care of somebody. I'm always going to, like, if you come in my store and you say you want to lose weight or whatever your health condition is, I'm going to tailor make it to you. It just, because I personal train people also. So what I do is, you can't cookie cutter people, so, what I do is when a customer comes in, I try to assess their needs and help them out with whatever way I can. And if that means I don't have a product, but I have a friend that has a product, I'll actually send them to them, which a lot of people, 99% of people never send somebody to their competition. But when I do that, people are actually going to come back and be like, wait a minute, you just sent me to the competition, and I have a lifelong customer for life.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, something else I do is we get a lot of returns from a lot of different stores, and they're all pissed off and irate at other stores because they sold them stuff they don't need. So we build a relationship back to where, even if we don't sell them anything that day, we educate them, and they'll always be a customer for life for us.
Right.
We also don't overcharge people. A lot of people try to overcharge people. We won't do that. We also won't sell stuff to kids, that if an 18-year-old asks me for a test booster, no, you don't need a test booster. You have enough tests to kill a horse. But when he comes back with his kids in the future, he's going to know that we're going to take care of him and take care of his kids.
Right.
So, just trying to be good to people, just the basics, just You be honest, be fair. Now, I don't have a good memory because my PTSD and TBI, I don't remember names at all. I'm not good with names at all. But if you come into my store, I'll get to know your story. Mm-hmm. And so whenever you come back, I'm always going to ask you, oh, yeah, how were the wife and the kids? How was the birthday party? And people really appreciate that.
Yep, that's important.
Yep.
So what is something that you wish you had done earlier in life that you know now is vitally important?
Probably not get hooked on drugs and be homeless. That would have got me a lot further along in life.
Yeah.
I only have a ninth grade education formally, so I think maybe going to college would have helped. But so far, I've read over 6,000 books to how to educate myself. So maybe I wouldn't change anything, because maybe I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through all the trials and tribulations.
Yeah, that's true. That's true there. So I'd like to focus on you yourself, Richard, for a few minutes, if that's all right.
Oh, yeah. I'm all, you got me. I'm all you.
Cool. What hurdles did you have to face personally? You told me about some of those, but when you're transitioning out of the military and then into entrepreneurship, how did you overcome those hurdles?
Well, I transitioned. I got out. Well, the first time in the military, back in '86, I went in for 2 years. I loved the military, but they didn't love me, so they threw my happy ass out. So I actually got chaptered out for alcohol and drug addiction. Okay. And then back then, around 1989, I got a waiver to get back in the National Guard. So I actually went back in the Guard in 89. And that's when I finished up my career with 24 years total.
Wow. Outstanding.
Yeah. So I was actually in the National Guard while I was building up, entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So where like a lot of times like guys would come out and they would go to, we'd go to drill and they would go out party and everything. I'd be reading books on, finances, reading books on real estate. Just, I was doing things that they weren't doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So was it obvious to you as far as, what you needed to do, in order to do that transition, or did you kind of stumble on those answers over time?
I just started just trying to figure it all out. I knew that I wasn't the average Joe, we're just having to go to work 9 to 5. I couldn't see myself doing that. So I just, started reading books by like Robert Kiyosaki, just different financial experts. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't buy houses, I just wanted to find out what other people were doing and why they were doing it. I'm always that guy that's, well, don't tell me to do something. I want to know why I'm doing it. Even if I never did it if I do it in my life, I just want to know why you're doing something. So I just started reading a lot of financial books and just trying to learn.
Oh, excellent. So how did you get started in your business? Kind of talk me through that.
Well, actually, when I first, about 1988, when I first 86 when I first got in the military, mm-hmm. I was stationed at Fort Hood, and I would actually work at the GNC on post. So any place I always went, I always got a job either on post or off post, working with a GNC or a supplement shop. So and it was just something that always interested in me because my cousin was a doctor, and I would sit and talk with her, and we would talk about health and fitness and stuff like that. So it was just a passion that I got hooked on, and it's something I've been doing. I've been in the industry 32 years now. So it's just something that I love, Mm-hmm.
So what kind of compelled you to become what you are in your business?
honestly, I think God put me on this earth for a reason, and I think my gift is to be able to help people. Even if it's through physical, for health, through fitness, or through addiction. I think that He put me here for a reason. So I'm just trying to do, like you said, I'm just trying to create a legacy with what I do. I mean, sometimes the people ask me, what education do you have? And I said, I go to school of hard knocks. I had to learn everything, by sitting, just studying book after book after book after book. So, I think a lot of people, once they hear my story, it's more, they trust you more because you've been in, like me and you. It's like you can tell a civilian everything you can about the military, and they're not going to understand. But once you talk to a fellow vet,
That's right.
They understand.
That's right.
They get it,
So is there a profession out there that you would like to do other than what you're doing right now?
Well, my wife always asks me, she's like, if we won the lottery, what would you do? Mm-hmm. And my old story used to be, well, I would just build a bigger store. I'd just spend $10 million on a store, even if I didn't make $10 million back. But now I think I want to actually start getting into public speaking, podcasting, guesting on podcasts, to get the word out about, health and fitness and addiction, because the hard thing about being in a physical store, you can only put in so many hours.
That's true.
To reach, a certain amount of people, to where, I'm finding out, even like Donnie just changed my whole perspective on everything, even my business wise, he was saying, dude, you have such a story. That's what you should be concentrating on. And that's what I started really thinking about it, praying about it. What I say to.
Okay, so Richard, is there a profession other than what you're doing with nutrition that you'd like to attempt?
Actually, now I am going to start doing more podcasts and more public speaking, and also going to jails and rehabs and talking about addiction and recovery, and because it's all about the mind, the body, and the soul. If your mind's not right, your body's not going to be right, your soul's not going to be right. If any one of the three are off, it can shut the whole person down.
That's very true. That's very true, and it's it's commendable that you're wanting to give back in that way, because a lot of people don't do those things, and if you can help other people, then you're really making the community stronger. And it's all part of that, like we were saying earlier, all part of that legacy. You're leaving something behind that's changing somebody else's life so that they can make the world better.
Yep, and I think that there's, like you said, there's not a lot of people doing it. Mm-hmm. So there's a niche that that a lot of people, they'll talk about health or fitness, but they won't go to the addiction side, because that's a lot of it is taboo. Even though we have a big opioid crisis in the United States today. So if I can just help, talk to somebody about health and fitness, and oh, by the way, I'm also clean from drugs and alcohol for 32 years. I can open up other pathways to help other people.
Yeah, and that's a huge testimony right there in itself. And it's a testimony for what you do, is that this stuff does work, and that's huge. That's huge. And congratulations on your sobriety, because that is something that people should admire and should want to live up to in their own life.
Well, the funny thing is, being clean for so long, I still have to be wary of falling. Even when we go out to dinner, like we're going out to dinner tomorrow night with friends, even if I order a Diet Coke, my wife still has to taste it. Mm-hmm. Even after 32 years, I still have to be cognizant. I can't use scope. I can't eat cookies with vanilla extract. It's stupid stuff like that, but it can lead to a downfall down the road.
That's true.
So you always have to be on guard, Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your greatest strength, Richard?